our independence. Learn how your organization can join in at sponsorship.wnyc.org.
Last week on Wait, Wait, we provided a model of reasoned debate.
Well, you shut up.
No, you shut up.
You shut up.
This is the good old days.
There we go.
I'm Peter Sagal. Join us for a respectful back and forth with legendary sportscaster Bob Costas on this week's Wait, Wait from NPR. Tomorrow morning at 11 on 93.9 FM and AM 820 WNYC.
It is 6:52. Marketplace Morning Report is next. And then next hour on Morning Edition, National Guard troops remain in Washington, D.C., even though the 30-day emergency declared by President Trump that let him deploy the Guard is over. That's next hour on Morning Edition from NPR and WNYC in New York. We have 6 trains being rerouted right now, so check your app there before you head out the door this morning if you're relying on that train. Mid-60s and sunny and 78 for a high today. And then tonight, partly cloudy, mid-60s once again. And get this, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, broken record, sunshine, high around 80, no showers, no rain in the forecast.
When it comes to grocery prices, what goes up hardly ever goes down.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Avalara, providing cloud-based solutions for businesses to manage property tax compliance. Learn more at avalara.com/property tax. And by the United States Postal Service, offering stamps for purchase at over 40,000 supermarkets and drugstores and at wholesale clubs, Costco, Walmart, Sam's Club, and BJ's.
I'm David Brancaccio in Los Angeles. First, let's acknowledge that we all carry our own personal consumer price index with us at all times. We experience the prices we ourselves pay. But we can also learn from diving into the nationwide numbers. The fresh consumer price index came out yesterday. It was up more than expected. One slice, the price of food to use at home, was up 0.6% from just July to August. Marketplace's Carla Javier reports.
If you're wondering if tariffs are to blame, they're not the main driver of higher grocery prices. That's according to Bobby Gibbs, who's a retail consultant at Oliver Wyman. He says other input costs are the culprits,
including weather and other production impacts. Some of that comes from labor shortages and labor availability, which is a potentially kind of ongoing cost impact for them.
Gibbs says small profit margins for grocery stores mean they can't absorb higher costs. And that leaves consumers in a tough spot, says Charlotte Ambrazek in the Department of Applied Economics at the University of Minnesota. She says demand for some staples like meat is inelastic, which means when prices go up,
people will probably just be stuck paying higher prices and compensating for that in other ways in their budget. Fruits and vegetables might be slightly more elastic,
meaning consumers might buy less or swap them out for more affordable alternatives. That's if they bother making a meal at all.
When we see food away from home prices are not going up as fast as food at home prices, I think it's totally plausible that, people will eat more meals, especially at fast casual or fast service restaurants.
Which Ambrazek says could save them the cost of the groceries, plus the time it takes to figure out what to make and actually cook it. I'm Carla Javier from Marketplace.
Markets, S&P and NASDAQ futures are little changed right now. Video images of South Korean workers in U.S. custody shackled with chains on wrists, ankles, and waists are causing a wave of anti-U.S. anger in South Korea, close ally and strategic ally. More than 300 workers detained in an immigration raid in Georgia are now back in Korea after a week in detention. They were among about 475 people taken into custody at a construction site on the Hyundai campus near Savannah, one of the top economic development projects in the state of Georgia.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Bitwarden, with the reminder that making an enterprise password manager part of end-of-year IT plans can help to ensure effective workplace security. Bitwarden.com. And by Progressive Insurance with Snapshot. Learn more about Snapshot at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
This week, we've been covering a Labor Department internal investigation into how the Bureau of Labor Statistics collects data on jobs, inflation, and other aspects of the economy. The BLS has always made revisions to data as new information comes in over the months and each year, but revised findings that the economy created fewer jobs under Presidents Biden and Trump has angered President Trump, who recently fired the head of the BLS and wants to put in an ally to run the statistical agency, which generates data closely watched by businesses, investors, and the public. I spoke to Justin Wolfers, an economist and a public policy expert at the University of Michigan.
The way this story started is a little bit too revealing. The president got told some bad numbers about the economy and then insist on firing the person who delivers those numbers. Look, when you face bad economic numbers, you've got two choices: fix the economy or attack the numbers. And he chose the latter. The chief complaint from those who've backed up the president has been the Bureau's numbers are imperfect. And they absolutely are, because it's such a difficult task to measure how many people are in work in an economy of our size and an economy in which 6 million people gain and lose jobs every month. That's not the right way to think about the value of statistics. The question is there a way of doing it that's less imperfect? And so far, no one has come up with any approach that's less imperfect than what the Bureau of Labor Statistics is doing.
Some have drawn comparisons with, in China, they stopped reporting youth unemployment when it started looking inconvenient some years ago.
Yep. And in Argentina, they falsified the inflation data. And this is something that happens not in serious first world economies that borrow trillions of dollars at very low rates in international capital markets. This comes from countries without the tradition of democracy, often driven by autocrats. Look, it's this simple. Truth is what statistics are all about. I think we're served by having more truth. I can't imagine a way in which having less truth leads to better economic policy. I can see how it leads to better political outcomes for one person.
I mean, there are real consequences. This may sound arcane to some people, but it could lead to higher costs of borrowing on your credit cards if our statistics is called into question.
Absolutely. So that is the story of Argentina, which is you can try and suppress statistics, but you can't suppress reality. And there's one other thing, which is we borrow trillions of dollars in international markets. Now, of course, I'm willing to lend you money if I know that you're a really safe person to lend money to. But if you're not willing to tell me the truth about your finances, what is it I'm going to infer about you? I'm going to infer that the reality must be terrible. As a result, foreign lenders are going to lend money to the US as if we are a basket case economy, which would be a very bad outcome if the reality is that we're actually a good, strong, vibrant economy who are able to repay our debts on time and in full.
Justin Wolfers is a professor of economics and public policy at the Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy at the University of Michigan. Justin, thank you so much.
Great pleasure, mate.
Overall, President Trump's interventions into private businesses represents a stark break with free market orthodoxy, often promoted by his Republican Party. Professor Wolfers and I dive into what some are calling state capitalism next week here on the Marketplace Morning Report. In Los Angeles, I'm David Brancaccio. From APM, American Public Media.